Well, as I mentioned at the start, I have a guest joining us. I was just telling him off air before we started. I think he joined me in this show like 5 years ago. I didn't find it, but quite a while ago. But his name is Lloyd Marcus, and he is he's an author, he's a columnist, a frequent columnist. He is a musician, he's a performer, he's just a very active conservative guy, and we have him on phone. But before I bring him on, I'm going to tell you, play for you, ask Matt the Wonderful to play for you a clip that is from what he has created, Trump Train 2020 video supporting Trump's re-election. This is a short clip, but Matt, can we play that first?
And we will make America great again. God bless you. I love you.
Come on, America, time to get on board.
Get on board.
Come on, America, time to get on board. Trump is taking back our country. I say praise the Lord. He's draining the swamp in Washington, D.C., restoring freedom to you and me.
Trump train.
Okay, that was that's just the beginning of his video. I think it's 3 or 4 minutes long. The link is available on our website, americacanwetalk.org. On the homepage, under shows, drop down, list of links, and let us bring in and say hello to Lloyd Marcus. Hello, sir.
Debbie, I am a black man who has finally seen the light. I fully embrace the Black Lives Matter agenda, and therefore, as a white person, you must kneel to me and refer to me as your royal blackness.
Okay, you know what? You don't remember talking to me if you think that's going to go over with me. No, but on a serious note, yeah. Yeah.
Can you believe this nonsense? Why is everybody bending a knee to this obviously Marxist, racist hate group? They hate white people. They want to destroy the nuclear family. They want to take down America. And we have all these major corporations funding them to high heaven. The last I heard is up to $400 million. And the Bank of America just pledged $1 billion to Black Lives Matter. That's insane. I saw this old Navy commercial, and they have dumped everything into this Black Lives Matter commercial. It's LGBTQ, it's everything. And all of this is supposed to be about Black Lives Matter. It has nothing to do with Black lives. It's a scam.
Wow, well, that's it. I love starting out with this. It's a great way. We have so many things to talk about today, and I'm so glad you're available to join me today. So, first of all, many Americans who are not tuned in politically assume that the Black Lives Matter movement just means protest over police brutality, reaction to what they saw happen in Minneapolis with George Floyd. So they think Black Lives Matter simply means that people want to stand up and declare that we're all equal, and of course everyone's life matters. And I'm so glad you are correcting that. And I want to talk about that a little bit, what the Black Lives Matter movement really is, because what you made reference to, go ahead, you go right ahead.
Well, I was going to say this whole thing is nonsense. Even the peaceful protesters, like everybody says, well, I have no problem with the peaceful protesters. I do, because there's nothing to protest about. The whole world saw what happened with George Floyd. The whole world condemned it. The policeman was charged with murder. End of subject. There should have been not a need for one day of protesting. And this whole thing of systemic racism, that's another huge, absurd lie. Blacks are only 13% of the population. So what that means is white America elected the first black president for 2 terms. Oprah Winfrey is worth $2.6 billion, Debbie. Give me some of that systemic racism. you know?
Yep, absolutely.
It's totally insane. And let me say something else too. Like, everyone is talking about we must have police reform. That's another lie, because Research shows by Heather McDonald that the greatest defender of black lives for years has been the police. Policemen killed 10 blacks last year. Guess how many blacks are murdering one another in Washington, D.C., Chicago, and Baltimore? It's black on black murder, and 30 to 40 blacks are murdering one another every single weekend. How come those black lives don't matter? And you can't talk about those black lives, or they're going to call you a racist. So this whole thing is just totally backwards. It's a huge lie for the Democrats to further their agenda. I feel like that when this George Floyd thing first happened, we have allowed leftists to control our schools for decades, and they have made our kids sleeper cells against their parents and against this country. When this George Floyd thing happened, I feel like the leftists told our kids, go, 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 swarm, 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 tear down everything American. And that's what this whole thing is all about.
Oh, it absolutely is. I'm glad you made reference to the Black Lives Matter movement, the actual organization, because they are Marxists in their founding. And there was a great clip we played a few weeks ago. I think it was Marcellus Wiley, who is on a sports program. He's not a political commentator, but he brought out some of the things that Black Lives Matter say on their website about destroying the nuclear family unit, destroying the patriarchal society, and just advocacy of things that many Black Americans do not agree with. And I actually think he did a great service, and you're doing great service too, pointing out to Americans you can believe in equality and you can oppose police brutality in the rare circumstances when it occurs, but this movement is not about standing up for black lives. It's a very dangerous leftist movement.
Right, and this whole, I see all these young people walking around with these shirts that say equality, and I just feel like, gag me. Look, I have all of these millennials in my family who totally support Black Lives Matter, and they post stuff on Facebook like, we are no longer running, and we're not going to stand for it. They haven't experienced an ounce of racism in their entire lives. I mean, it's just totally. Back in 1952, my father was one of the first blacks to break the color barrier to become a Baltimore City firefighter. The white firefighters, they hated my dad and they humiliated him at every turn, and he could not drink a cup of coffee from the same coffee pot as the white firefighters. He could not use the same eating utensils as the white firefighters. Despite those horrific working conditions, my father won Firefighter of the Year 2 times.
Wow.
So, thank you. But
wow.
yet the Democrat Party, they always tell Black Americans that we're inferior and standards have to be lowered to accommodate us. And I don't know why so many black folks are still stuck on voting for Democrats. I started to say stuck on stupid, but that would be rude.
Well, you wouldn't be the first one, but I do want to, you were on to this, though, about how the American left uses the black community, the black voter, long before Black Lives Matter came along. Your book from 2000,
right, yeah.
Your book, 2010, Confessions of a Black Conservative, How the Left Has Shattered the Dreams of Martin Luther King, Jr. and Black America. Can you just quickly summarize, what was your message of that book?
Basically, the bottom line of that book, I show blacks how the Democrat Party has been scamming them for decades, and they need to move away from the Democrat Party, because what they do, the Democrat Party, it crushes the human spirit. It crushes human potential. Ask yourself, now look, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas is one of the most famous black men and powerful black men in the entire world. So is Dr. Ben Carson. How come the Congressional Black Caucus, the NAACP, and the Democrat Party, why do they hate these extraordinarily successful black men? Because they are not saying we are victims in America, and they achieve success the old-fashioned way, just like white people achieve success. They went to school, they got a decent education, and they earned it. Debbie, if I say nothing else today, America is the greatest land of opportunity on this planet for all who choose to pursue their dreams. Anything else is an evil, bald-faced lie.
Amen to that. And I think you know that's one of the main points of my show over and over. We're blessed to live in the most extraordinary country in human history, you know, the place, the experiment of human liberty that survived. I do want to ask you, though, you wrote about in your columns, you write maybe other places, but I find you're writing on American Thinker, and you wrote about the idea that you and your wife, I think, have been involved in a bus tour. It is the Conservative Campaign Committee's mini bus tour of battleground states to help elect GOP candidates. And you were in Colorado recently. Just what are you encountering when you're doing this? What do you do to sell the message, and what are you encountering in the people you talk to?
Okay. Well, we have we have several different initiatives. We run television ads, radio ads. We do a lot of social media. But the most effective thing that we do, or I can't say the most effective, but we rally the locals in various states to stand on street corners and wave signs for Donald Trump. And with everybody being afraid around the country to wear a MAGA cap or to even put American flag on their home, when these people see us, see a bunch of us standing on the street corner waving American flags and waving Donald Trump flags and signs, they go crazy. This one guy drove by and stuck $100 in my face and said, get your people some water because it is hot out here. We were in we were in Nevada and we were in Arizona. And it was great. And people, they needed to see that because every single night they are seeing a bunch of thugs tearing down and destroying our country. And they needed to see somebody standing up boldly saying, hey, we love America and we love Donald Trump. Get over it.
Wow. Well, I just can't tell you how refreshing it is to hear you and to hear your passion about it all and to be out there. You're right. I think so many Americans, even people who are normally politically active, the environment, the political environment has become so toxic, it seems better and safer just to kind of be quiet, don't put a sign in your yard, stay home, and maybe on election day you'll go in and vote for Trump, but you're certainly not going to tell people. And I think there's a groundswell of people who love what you're doing and love the idea that they can go in November and vote for what Donald Trump is doing because they really are alarmed by this destruction of America and by the utter silence of the American left allowing this destruction in the inner cities. The cities where this violence is happening are almost all they're Democrat mayors, Democrat-run cities, and they are refusing to stand down this violence. I think Americans can't wait. I mean, a lot of Americans can't wait to get out and vote for Donald Trump.
And we know why all these Democrat governors and mayors are doing this, right, Debbie? Because they think all this is going to fall back negatively on Donald Trump, and that's all they care about. That has been so heinous about this whole COVID hysteria and the George Floyd hysteria. They would do anything to the American people to get Donald Trump. They don't care that the suicide rates are skyrocketing. They don't care that family businesses are lost forever. They don't care. They do not care that babies and kids are being murdered every weekend in these riots. They don't care. And I know you're not supposed to use this word about politics, but I do. They are evil. They're just plain evil.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And on a more serious note, then, about what the agenda of the left and of Antifa and of Black Lives Matter, the very Marxist agenda, you know, there is a lot of talk about the idea that in 2020, our election this coming November, seems like it's around the corner, that we have, as you wrote in a column, you titled a column recently, Last Stand to Save America as Founded. And I would love to have you tell me, and because I agree, and I've been making similar comments on related various topics about this is kind of a last stand. But why do you say that? What do you say? Why do you say this election is the last stand for America?
Well, the one thing that has been exposed, how the Democrats, how all these Democrat states have handled the COVID lockdown. This is going. This will show what they will do when they have power. They have totally ignored the United States Constitution, and we know that if Joe Biden is elected, he won't be the president. All these far left radicals will be pulling his strings. All of our constitutional liberties will be totally ignored. The Democrats have wanted to kill babies after they have been born, kill
right.
healthy babies after they have been born. They will do that. They will take our guns. Donald Trump has been tremendous for religious liberty, and Joe Biden has already said that he will reverse all of Donald Trump's decisions regarding religious liberty, including suing the Little Sisters of the Poor. Again, I don't know if you remember, but Barack Obama, he wanted to sue them to force them to do abortions. Donald Trump dropped that lawsuit. Joe Biden says that if he's elected, he's going to pick that up again. And he has a list of 42 things that are anti-constitutional, anti-jobs, anti-American that he's going to do. So thank God that Donald J. Trump is there, and we got to keep him there. America, we have to vote for Donald Trump in November and keep him there, because if we do not, America as founded is gone.
I couldn't agree more, and I say very similar things on this show all the time. I think that the need for people to actually dive in and read even what Joe Biden admits, what he puts on his website, what his agenda is. I think Americans get duped by his kind of milquetoast appearance. They think he is kind of one of the more moderate, old school Democrats who really just is a little bit more concerned about the little guy, and they do not recognize that Biden has embraced the Bernie Sanders agenda. He has, in fact, announced, Bernie Sanders agenda, announced he is going very far left on so many issues, and in ways it's very hard to turn America back if he were to win. So if people, your Trump train video is as fun as anything. We'll play a little clip of it again in just a moment. But can people purchase or get a hold of that Trump train video?
Yes, they can go to LloydMarcus.com, and the other website is TrumpTrain2020USA.com. But they can always find everything about me at LloydMarcus.com.
So I said, okay, LloydMarcus.com. I'm mentioning, because I often go to American Thinker, your columns are there. The Trump Train 2020, I'm sorry, I lost it. Trump Train 2020 video.com. Say it again.
Trump Train 2020 USA.com.
USA.com. Okay. Lloyd Marcus, you are just full of energy and passion for America and musical talent beside. Thank you so much for being available today. Thanks for joining me.
And thank you for having me. Thanks for having me, my sister. And we're going to get this done, right?
We are going to get this done.
It done.
We are. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Okay. Take care. Thank you. Okay, folks, I got to tell you, he's just obviously a character and a very talented musician, and he made that video in part, that music video in part, to counter, I guess, Neil Young or somebody made Neil Young made an anti-Trump video, so he said, we're not having that, so he made this pro-Trump one. This is a guy who he actually writes very well at American Thinker, and often his columns are a little bit personal stories. He'll weave in where he and his wife went to a family thing, or other times where he's engaging kind of more person to person, talking about America and politics. As I mentioned, he wrote a book 10 years ago now, recognizing how the Democrat Party has destroyed Black America, destroyed Black families, and duped many people, the majority of Black Americans who vote for the Democrat Party, even though, as he points out, they're actually harming the Black family and the Black American. So he's a musical talent, and he actually does a lot of public speaking too, and public performing his music. So Lloyd Marcus, and again, you can find him. He said LloydMarcus.com, and also on our website, you can find a link to his Trump Train video. Our website, AmericaCanWeTalk.org.